Hello, beautiful people. Sunset said she had to brace herself when I come on. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Point of View, your go-to spot for everything trending on your timelines. Coming up on today's show, former Vice President Kamala Harris is making headlines after calling for the voting age in America to be lowered to 16. Plus, fans are calling out NBA star Draymond Green for saying his wife is strong enough to deliver their fourth child alone while he's away for work. Later, we're diving into Girlfriend's Guide, Mind, Body, and Soul, and of course, our co-host Sunset and Willie. Yes, they're gonna be here to break it all down, and we have our host Tally that's gonna break it down. So come on in, join the discussion. You're watching POV. Vice President Kamala Harris sat down on the Diary of a CEO where she shared that she thinks the voting age should be lowered to 16. Kamala says that Gen Z has been shaped by climate change, climate anxiety, they have coined the phrase, and an economy where even a college degree might not even get the bills paid. She says that if they're living in the consequences, they should help choose the leaders. How do we feel about this? Are 16-year-olds ready to vote?
You know what? I know that this is probably not going to be in line with where you guys may be going with it. But honestly, listen, honestly, I don't see a problem with, possibly lowering the voting age to 16 because right now, children have access to information that we just didn't have. We were so my mom, not we, because, my mom's house, she made sure that we were informed about what was going on all around the world from religion to politics and everything else. But I feel like after that, we kind of got into, this social media age. But these children, even though they're locked in on social media, they have so much access to different point of views and perspectives. And a lot of times we've seen, even with this last campaign, there were a lot of young 14, 15, and 16-year-olds that were really speaking out and, breaking down things that even I didn't understand at 37. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Because half the time, maybe the ones that shouldn't vote ain't going to vote anyway because the grown people ain't voting.
Ooh, I say, God, no. The 16-year-olds that I know do not have the capacity to be able to vote. And let me tell you, Kamala Harris, the reason that she's wanting to do this is because it's going to help the Democrats to be able to fake forth another election because they can manipulate the minds of the teenagers, and that's all I have to say.
Well, you know what? Hey, it may be interesting because we see Kamala's tactics. If she can get 16-year-olds to be able to vote, honey, on her next campaign, she may have NBA YoungBoy. He bring the kids out.
Okay, first off, I completely disagree, with both reasoning.
Thank you.
Where we were going with that, with Willie's. But no, I don't think at 16, listen, if you don't have capacity to contract, you shouldn't have capacity to vote. That's as simple as it is. If I can't sign a contract to get a car, to actually own an apartment, I should not be able to vote. At 16, some people are still being peer pressured to become who they are going to become. So they're influenced heavily by their parents, their peers, and other people around them. I don't think at 16 you can make a sound decision on whether or not the world needs to go in whatever direction it's supposed to be going. You haven't had enough experience.
Yes, that's what
but I do see the other side where if we do lower the vote to 16, we would welcome more of our people into that pool because a lot of our people, and that's just by default, die young. So their say-so may be more poignant at age 16 because of their experience, their level of experience, and that's only speaking on our community.
So
However,
we want them to vote and then die.
No, I don't think so. I'm not saying vote and
really?
die. I'm saying I see the perspective that she's saying, but I still don't think that legally it should be something that a 16-year-old should be able to do. If I can't have capacity to contract, why the heck would I have capacity to sign off on who's going to be the president? Like,
And why do you think is there such a difference between the contract and the voting? Why do you think that is such a comparison?
Well, America is based on contracts, right? Everything you do is a contract. No, and this is just a serious conversation where, again, to even sign on a house, to even sign on a car. And when you turn 18, I don't want to get too deep into it, but on the private side, it's called the SESTA V Act. I don't know if I'm saying it right. SESTA V Act, it says once you are 18 and you have capacity to contract, America still owns you by law. And they took out a UCC lien on you stating that they're going to make decisions on behalf of you. So if you don't say, hey, I now know that I have capacity to contract and I can make my own decisions, they will make those decisions for you. That is why a lot of times we're paying for a lot of credit cards and debt and all of that. That was on purpose because they own you still. So again, at 16, you don't have capacity to contract. That's intentional. So you shouldn't be able to vote because I don't even have capacity to say if this is okay or if this isn't.
Well, that's a good point.
We say 16, you know, you don't have the experience, perhaps not even really fully developed in your ability to not be influenced. But then at 18, and then we have, you know, older people who are, obviously we saw in this last situation that there was a huge influence even on the Christian community who says they love God. So I'm not going to go, Willie. I'm not going to go. That's up for people to decide on their own. Obviously, they did. But, like, what is the difference between the experience of a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old?
Well, that's the thing with America, guys. If we go back to the reason why America even changed the law to why we can only drink at 21, it wasn't because they cared about you being 21. It was because they wanted more access so you can be able to drink, so they wanted to agree with the other countries. So it's not really a moral issue here. 16 and 18 is not much of a difference, but at 18, you have to make those decisions. You are graduating. You have to still go to college or decide not to. You have to make those decisions. At 16, you don't have to, so you don't have to think about them. That's the difference.
I think it needs to be 25. And
a lot
the
of
reason I
people
say
said
that
that
is because you can't even run for Congress until you're 25. So if you want me to be 16 to go vote for a person that has to be 25 to even put their name on a ballot, then I think you need to be the same matching age of the person I'm going to vote. You got to be 35 to run for president. So all these have age requirements, but yet you want me to take my 16-year-old to come vote for you, that you had to meet another age requirement. So I feel like you're not really an adult, and especially with men, the frontal lobe ain't fully developed till they're 25. I think now they're saying 32.
Oh,
so, yeah, they moved it up.
Y'all keep just regressing here.
Don't do too much.
You're like, hold up now.
This is why a lot of women gotta raise these men, y'all.
Yeah, you know, I kind of like, I couldn't agree with that. Like, at 16, I really couldn't see that really happening. And a lot of people in the comments did say that it really should be older. Because at that point, you still have not, like, really learned. You still have not really experienced life. However, these kids are experiencing, you know, like she said, the climate anxiety. But that's not enough.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't feel like sometimes experiencing life, it doesn't always make you better. Sometimes it just poisons you more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes living in a bubble and just, you know, I just feel like it's better. But I'm just thinking about the 16-year-olds that I know. And I feel like I know a lot of 16-year-olds, my son, his friends, my nephews, their friends, and they have a discipline already that we just do not have. You know, I don't have the authority in my own life. I'm not going to say authority, but I don't exercise the authority to stop drinking Red Bull and to stop drinking soda. But my 16-year-old does not play about what goes into his body.
I got good discipline.
Well, baby, not me, honey.
Right discipline.
Baby, I'm drinking that Red Bull, honey. Please, give me an endorsement.
Discipline is developed and having the fortitude. Yes. All right, let's get into the next topic, okay? Because the internet is not letting this slide. NBA star Draymond Green is facing major backlash after saying his wife is strong enough to give birth to their fourth child while he's away for work. Now, some fans are saying there's just no excuse for a husband to miss the delivery room, but others are defending him, pointing out that careers come with sacrifices, and maybe his wife is completely fine with it. Let's take a look.
Your family is about to grow. What is it like going on the road knowing something like really big and important is on the horizon?
Sucks. Pretty if I'm honest. But nonetheless, this is my job. I love to do my job, so, but it's terrible, if I'm honest. It's not the first time I've been in this position, though. But my wife does a great job. She's strong. I'll do all I can to get back here if I need to.
Your family is about...
You look like you ready to.
I don't
say
see nothing wrong with that.
I don't see anything wrong with the way that he actually said it, but the way we're painting the story, Raquel, it was a little different now.
Now, the way he's saying it is saying that he has to go to work because that's what pays the bills. He's the one bringing in, and that he will be there for me. So if it's a mercy, you have all the time where there's people out that get a phone call because you can't help if you at the office and your wife go in labor.
They have paternity leave. Okay, we don't go to this status. You're literally part of the 1%. You're telling me you're part of the 1%, and you still not able to make important things happening in your wife's life.
This would be different if it was the first child.
It's not different.
Okay, no. You know what's different about it? Let me tell you what's different about it.
It's the fourth child.
What's different about it being the fourth child is at this point, he knows what the schedule is like.
Yes.
So at this point, y'all need to be planning when this baby gonna be made so you can be there for the birth.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's like, yes, I get it, you're working, but we got to prioritize. No, just like you said, it's the fourth child.
This is,
that
again,
fourth child
attack on a
deserves the
man.
same attention to say that daddy was there at birth. And I think he is still bothered by it as well. So I'm not going to say it's just on him. I think just the totality of the situation. I don't like the saying of she's strong. I want black women to just get away from that word.
Yeah.
We're fragile. We're hurting. We want support. We need support. Like, support her. And if you can be there for her.
Well, just some episodes ago, y'all was strong women that don't. I'm confused.
You are confused.
Y'all make up your mind. You're stronger, you're not.
An interesting SSA, because I can't say it the other way. And so his wife stands behind all that. I'm sure she's standing with him with this foolishness because she got a foolish man.
I would really like to know what she has to say, but obviously she is stronger than him because he can't
There
take
you
a
go,
break.
attack on the man.
We'll be back, y'all. We'll be back. So now Willie says attack on a man. Willie, you're going to have to stop that foolishness
It
right
is
now.
an attack on a man because at the end of the day, he is owning up to it. It's not like he's saying, I just can't be there. She need to do what she need to do. It's like, I don't want to be. It sucks. It's my job. I hate it, but I know my wife can handle it. It's not like she's going to be in there without.
Nothing wrong.
Right, but y'all acting like he know his schedule. How do you produce? You think he lay down every so often and know, my sperm cell gonna leave my body at this time to make sure this baby's doing this time.
The sperm cell should be leaving every time.
We need you to take some accountability. First off, when a woman gives birth, she is on the verge of death. Okay, let's not take this as something that's so leisure because everybody's giving birth. Birth is something that woman faces, and 90% of the time she's facing death. Okay, so let's make that clear. So that is considered a.
Whoa!
You know what I do want to say, Willie? What I do want to say is, as far as you talking about attack on a man, at what point do you sit with yourself and really realize that you're a victim?
I am not a victim.
I mean, the way you are
I'm trying to tell you that this is something where it's always the man is wrong. He should have been there. He's doing that.
No.
And he's doing what he's supposed to do is his job.
Willie.
And I stand behind them. Donate to our organization at houseoftimmy.org.
Okay.
Because I'm sincerely with you.
There you go. Change the subject. Absolutely. We'll be on some foolishness, y'all. Welcome back. Now it's time to get into all things love, life, relationships, and everything all in between. Let's get into Girlfriend's Guide. Marriage in America is on life support. Almost flatlining, y'all. And now the numbers are shocking. Sunset went like, get the defibrillator.
Right.
Now the numbers are shocking. 1 in 4 adults plan to stay single for life, with careers, mental health, and independence taking priority. Could love be losing out to people's everyday lifestyles? Is staying single a choice or a consequence of modern life?
Yes, it is. Okay, it's not
Which one?
advertised in. Ooh, what do you mean?
Is it because of choice or modern life?
No, it's choice. Mostly choice, but it is modern life as well because it's not advertised as much. Back then, we used to get advertised all the time of family dynamics from the TV shows. Even when it was a different race, they always advertised family dynamics: a mother, a father, the kids, a mother, a father, the kids. So you almost saw that everywhere. Nowadays, please name me right now, if anybody can, shows that portray that. We can. So what I'm saying is, because it's not advertised and marketed, nobody's thinking of that right now. People are trying to get to the point where they're good at their living situations. And a lot of, specifically women too, I want to touch on that because again, we just got rights to vote. So we're just being able to get loans from the banks to have homes. So a lot of people are choosing to be single because now they're growing into becoming who they want to be. And now adding someone to that is a choice now. We're not forced into it. Back then, a lot of people were forced into that. So now that's...
I think you can do both.
Yeah?
I think that you can be able to thrive in both ways. I think singleness is a choice.
Yeah.
I'm single. That's not my ultimate decision. However, at the end of the day, I want to be married. However, I recognize me getting together or her getting together. Those are things we can do together. And I think so often we have split and you got to go do you and you do you. At the end of the day, we are never going to be perfected until the return of the Lord. So we have to always be working on ourselves and we can do that together. And I feel like that's what I love that because I think it's the beauty of it. Like I get to see the little quirky thing that you do to get on my nerves and let's talk about that so we can build together. That's what I look at, you know. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love that. I just, it's just not what it is today.
Yeah, I feel like, this is a time that we're living in, unfortunately. And, it always makes me think about that scripture where it just talks about, in the end times, men or women, people will be lovers of themselves instead of lovers of God. And I feel like that's just where we are right now. Everyone is so distracted, focused on this superficial super dome that we're living in. To me, I feel like this is the Hunger Games. I feel like this world just really isn't real sometimes. And I know I'm going far-fetched, but that's just where I'm at with it. I just feel like we're just so lost to everything in the original design of the way that it was created to be. And, I hope that we have more time to get it right. But every day I wake up and I just feel like, oh my God, we're further and further away.
Yeah, what else? True. I agree. I like this next question though.
Yeah. What is it? Go ahead.
Does economic instability make marriage unrealistic? Yes. Yes, it does.
You think so?
Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
Because when the economy is not stable, when you can't figure out what to do, how to do it, when layoffs are at the climate that it is today, it's like people make decisions of being with their partners based off what's going on in the economy. Like some people can't afford to date. We want to talk about being realistic. A lot of people can't even afford to date right now. So when the climate in the economy is failing, so will marriage, so will relationships, so will family dynamics. A lot of people, when they're stressed, it falls on the family dynamics. So then there's separation, there's divorces. The number one reason people get divorced is because what? Financial instability.
Yeah, and I believe that goes back to the fact that people are together for the wrong reasons in the first place, because even when you look at other races, it's the same as like the family dynamic and marriage and things like that, where they come together and they build up each family, each home, and there's maybe 4 or 5 families living in one house until they can accomplish a common goal. And I just feel like, as far as the Black community, that's something that we see often, and it just trickles down into every aspect. So eventually it will affect marriage and the family dynamic, but it makes so much more sense that in times of financial instability, for you to partner up with someone and to work together versus you working so hard when rent and mortgage is and interest rates are sky high and you're trying to accumulate everything on your own and you don't want to work together with somebody. Like, how much sense does that make?
Well, contrary to popular belief, Black marriages have gone up. All right? I just wanted to add that.
How do we get to that place where we're just like, you think it's been like shoved down our throats that it's more important to be single, to be by ourselves and try to build on our own rather than come together and build together like you were saying?
Here we go.
Go ahead, Willie.
The LBJ Great Society
Oh, God.
incentivized the welfare state calling for the single household with no father involved. And that is why we are now having to get rid of that political stigma that women being in there single and needing welfare was the way to go. Now women are wiser, they're stronger. No, you don't like it, but they're able to get out there, the word strong women, but they're able to get out there and do what they need to do. And now they're saying, I'm okay with having a household coming together. And I think that was taken away maybe about 60 years ago when, we talked about the sitcoms and stuff.
Yes.
That was when you saw the Cosbys, you saw all that coming together. Then you started seeing that trickle to where everything is, the woman hollering at the man, you no good, get out the house, that I can raise my kids. Now they're coming back and saying, what was all that nonsense? What did we accomplish? What did we get to when we were dividing our own people?
Yeah.
But we allowed a white, racist, Democrat, no good, weak-kneed, jelly-back power trash to determine for us what we need to do as a people of color. And so that's all I had to say.
Man.
I love to hear you say that you're people of color.
At least, right? Woo! Moving into our final segment of the day, and this is part of the show where we pause and reflect on what truly matters. Let's get into mind, body, and soul. Woo! On the tail end, I said, let me do something different today. I'm gonna see what they say.
You like it?
Thank you. A new study just revealed something wild. Gen Z is unhappier than middle-aged adults for the first time ever. Think about it. They're juggling school, work, social media, and bills while everyone online seems to be having it all together. Seems is the operative word. Meanwhile, middle-aged adults are feeling more stable and even a bit happier thanks to careers and solid friendships. In your opinion, what's going wrong for Gen Z? And what's your advice on how to find joy when life feels really heavy?
You need joy in God. This is a godless generation. And the Bible said that very clear, that it will be a generation who knew not God. And when you have a godless generation, if you look at them, whatever they want to say they believe in, but if you look at it, there's like an absence of belief. I walk around and see so many like young people is like sad. Something is always happening. And that's where I believe it's up to our generation, because we are responsible for pouring back into them to say there's life, there's hope, because they see things that they don't have control, that we were just getting the peak of it. Like we were just coming into seeing an economic decline. We were just, now they're having to inherit what we were just peaking and seeing. So I get it. The world looks like it's falling on top of them, and they're the ones that's supposed to be carrying us or, taking care of us when we get older and so forth, and the Gen X, and they're having to wear that weight. But they need to return back to their first love and line up with that, because he gives always a promise to the people who can walk out in their exodus. And that's what I believe is wrong with this generation.
Can we bring it down though? Can we be a little more tangible? Because I feel like this is more of an airy response, because I do agree, but I feel like it's too in the air, it's too broad. If we're really being honest, these children are impacted by the culture of the world, like what's happening in the world. I remember when we were in school, like we didn't have cameras all in our faces on what we're gonna wear to prom and all this peer pressure. Like it wasn't as bad. It was bad, but not this bad. So they're under a lot of economic pressures, but not even just that. Gen Z, they're dealing with more than what we dealt with, and the world is not allowing them to just be. You gotta understand, even the food we're eating has more hormones. The food we're eating are not as real as it was anymore. So they're being played with in a lot of areas that we didn't have to deal with. So I think Gen Z is overstimulated. Like if I could put them in just a word to describe what they're feeling, they're overstimulated. Yes, they got the job pressure, social media and all that. We have that too, but they have it times 10. And the world is not basically, I don't know how to explain it. They're not catering to what Gen Z maybe need to be able to move forward with mental health. I think in our generation, we was not as pressured the same, so we didn't need access to it. Now we're hearing a lot more about therapy, mental health and all this, but do they have access to it? No, but we're hearing it more because they're overstimulated.
But hasn't every generation had their issues?
Yes.
Every generation has had their issues, and you're saying like the catering to the mental health, but I mean, every generation has needed mental health help. and it wasn't available. It wasn't laid out. It seems to be a little more laid out now because we're talking about it more. But every generation has needed this. Economics, or whether it's other facets. Wars are going on.
But
Some
theirs is
generations,
in
the wars.
Spotlight, Raquel. The difference is theirs is really
Their
in the
spotlight maybe has just moved.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
it
transformation
just
with
moved.
technology. Like we got ChatGPT, we got stuff that's fast, AI. Like they're seeing in their faces every second.
Yeah.
We didn't get it dished to us in the way that they're getting it dished to them. Like, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not this. They're seeing that. Literally 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds are seeing this on their phones. Like, ooh, mommy, I want to look like this. It's super extreme with
Because
them.
it's in your
It's
face.
in
But
their
you-
face.
but you-
But really quick,
accessible.
what I think Gen Z needs, I feel like Gen Z needs the cushion pulled from up under them.
Yeah.
I feel like so many of
what I'm
us
saying.
are just,
what I
constantly being that thing that they can fall off and bounce on and keep going. And sometimes you just have to fall. I feel like when we give too much sometimes, you stop people from being able to really experience the struggle, and that's what they need because they're too in tune with what they think is going on, and it's fake.
Do you think it has been an over-exaggerated sense of self-importance? And now when you see you're not as important as you thought you were, now we don't know how to handle it.
I agree.
That's a wrap for today's show. But before we go, let's see if we get this in. Every generation faces its own storm. How we guide the young determines whether they will sink or swim. Thanks for hanging out with us. Y'all catch us the next time on POV Afro TV.